Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining this session. This is Sohan. This is Dr. Sohan Notial. I'm associated with Technology Allied Systems. So today I would be talking about when to use LangChain, when to use and when to go for LangGraph. So, having said that, no, this session will be more focused on choose of right tool for AI learning features, guidance for education tech, ed tech product managers, map features complexity to LangChain for linear flows, or LangGraph for stateful learning workflow and governance. Moving on, when to use LangChain and when to use LangGraph. Choose simple linear features or stateful decision workflows for education use cases. LangChain and when to use LangChain. Best for simple linear AI features, stateless prompt response flows, ideal for a single step task, content generation, Q&A, summarization, lower integration overheads, and faster time to value. Use case like generate lesson summarization or automated grading comments. And about the LangGraph, best for stateful multi-step decision-based learning workflows. Stateful branching workflows with explicit control and auditability. Auditability. Designed for multi-step tutoring, adaptive lesson decision trees, support checkpoints, auditable decisions, and conditional branching. Use cases, if you see, for wherever there is adaptive learning, in the adaptive learning path, monitoring student progress, that's where it is followed. When to use LangChain? Criteria for simple linear learning features: one shot or few steps, mostly prompt for response. Mostly wherever prompt is given for that response, prompt in deterministic out. No complex branching, linear flow, no decision trees, and minimal long-term memory, little or no persistent state needed. No matrix, no retries or approvals, single pass outcomes, single pass outputs without review loops. Product guidance, prototyping, and content. Ideal or fast prototypes, content generation, and low risk student facing tools. A long chain education use cases as part of the education sector, and what all the use cases we have as part of education sector. It's a stateless fast integration for MVPs and so value propositions. So typically, with the minimal orchestration. AI tutor, Q&A, QA bot, wherever there is a tutor is required, where there is a question and answer, immediate answer, you get it. Then quiz questions generator, uh, then easy feedback tool, flashcard generator, then lecture summarization. Why LangChain fits? These are typically stateless flows where prompt yield an immediate result, minimal orchestration, and required makes integration faster and cheaper for MVVs. Minimal value uh, product. Longchain use case AI tutor or QA bot example. Example flow. Student ask explain photosynthesis. AI answer. Teacher teacher review as needed. Preserved QA example showing simple input and output flow. When to pick long chain, simple linear AI features, use of direct Q&A, straightforward prompt response scenarios. When to pick LangChain in a stateful, when to pick LangGraph, stateful multi-step decision workflows. Use of adaptive lessons, brainstorming logic, and persistent learner state. Product consideration, prompt design prompts to for clarity to reduce hallucination, hallucinations. Product consideration scope limits. Start with limited domain to reduce hallucination risk. Product consideration, no, fallback and escalation. Include escalation to teach review for or consecutive or out of scope content. Moving on, where actually LangChain use cases, content generation and typically for summarization. Uh, so it could be a like quiz question generator, input topic or lesson text, process generate a targeted question, output written questions in a structured format. Tips validate with rubrics and instructor review for assessment. Then comes easy feedback tool, input student easy text, process provide AI feedback and scoring hints, output suggestions and revision guidance. Tips like include the instructor review for high state scoring. Then comes for flashcard generator similarly input and process. It follows process and the output and typical tips, log versions and validate concept coverage with rubric, rubrics. Lecture summarization and input lecture transcripts for audio transcripts, process condense into concise summaries. It will provide summarize of the transcript, and output is summary with key points and timestamps. Required instructor oversight for accuracy and long versions. Moving on to next slide. When to use LangGraph for learning workshop workflows. Choose LangGraph for stateful, decision-driven in education systems. Multi-step reasoning. That's where LangGraph is being used. And a chained problem or a tutor-led solution. Student state tracking and persist progress score mastering levels. Branching paths, if wherever there is if and else comes into picture, adaptive lessons based on the response. Loops for retry and practice. Repeat exercise unit until mastery. Then human in the loop, teacher's approval wherever is required. That's where lang graph comes into picture. Deterministic control, reproducible, predictable flows, reproducibility and auditability, explicit state and clear audit trails for compliance. Then comes LangChain use cases, adaptive pathways and intelligent tutoring, stateful conditional learning flows for mastery and retentions. Access student, deliver diagnostic questions set and record learner state of the conditional routing. And, retest, issue formative assessment for to measure improvement and update states. If weak, remedial contents, then advance or repeat. Advance when mastery criteria is met, and loop back until mastery or time timeout. Now going in detail about how LangGraph use cases for education sector, basically stateful workflows, framework for proctoring, in advising progress tracking and guarded AI helps. Exam proctoring and feedback, and the flow is that personalized course advisor, student progress monitoring, AI teaching assistant with guardrails, guardrails, operational integration. So these are the typical LangChain LangGraph use cases in the education sector. Then when to use LangChain or LangGraph? Best for simple linear AI features as part of LangChain. Then one short inference and stateless task, deterministic outputs and short prompts. Start here for low complexity. LangGraph, best for stateful multi-step workflows. and branching logic, loops, retries, and human approvals wherever is required. Auditability and persistent state required. Move here as decision logic and state grow. Implementation, consideration, and next step. Ideation and scoping. Define learning goals, large users, success metrics, and mastery criteria. Prototyping with LangChain. Build stateless, linear prototypes with workflow and simple. Validation with instructors. Have teachers review outputs and workflow before expanding. Expand with the learner state, design learner's state model, and decision rules when personalization is needed. Refactor for LangGraph. Move to LangGraph when stateful multi-step decisions logic emerges. Pilot and iterate. Run a scoped pilot, gather feedback, refine models and UX. Broad rollout and monitoring. And, deploy gradually with reaches with the teachers in the loop and continuous validation. So that's what I thought of talking about LangChain and LangChain and LangGraph, when to use, where to use, why to use, and how efficient is LangGraph over LangChain. Right? Okay. Okay then. Thank you.